noise is that there?
Oh, you've ruined it.
Oh,
Who's that scary beast? I feel the odd one,
Yes, it's a Halloween special, and what we've seen at the COVID
I'm like a
inquiry
rose between two thorns.
was horrific. And the COVID inquiry.
There's some eyes staring at people through my shirt below here.
And so, welcome.
Oh, I'm going to take this off because I cannot do this all string, guys. It'll be too much for me. Oh, let me do the introductions. Whew. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Snowflake Show special. We are a special one here where we'll be discussing the COVID-19 inquiry amongst one or two other news stories. I am Reganelite, alongside my current co-host.
I'm Lee Corn, and in between us.
You are indeed, and we're special guest today, our good friend Marcus AllShorts. AllShorts, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good.
Marcus.
I feel a little bit, how to put it, sandwiched.
You're a bit over to one side, so let's just
between two thorns.
He's been squash, guys, in between us here today. And over the next hour, guys, we're going to go through the latest news, and we'll be discussing amongst one or two other things. There's a really weird story regarding the McDonald's we're going to be looking at as well today, isn't there, Lee?
Yeah.
Which is, well, we've heard it all today, guys.
There's Wally's here as well, another special guest.
Yep, and we have to stop and admire Wally, guys. So make sure you shout out to Wally in the chat whenever you see Wally, guys. Very important. Very important you do that.
Most important person on the screen. Most popular one on the screen, anyway.
Yeah. Oh, good. Do you want to say hello to the chat? Who have we got today, Lee?
So we have Reganelite, he's always here. No, can't get rid of that guy. Hughes, Zebediah, Thomas, good evening all. Let's choose some fat. Let's do that indeed. The Boris killed my granny special, outstanding, says Hugh. Yeah. I feel as if I'm in the pub, I'm the only customer here, horse in the pub looking miserable. Barman asks him why the long face. Definitely deserves.
What are you doing? Oh, he's trying to.
There we go.
Oh
dear. Yeah. And Ben Shaw's here. Hi, Ben. LER, Boris asking if a hairdryer up the nose could kill COVID. That's a good one. Yeah, we're just talking about that. LER. Colin Thompson, greetings from New York. Greetings, Colin. Hope you well. Hope it's not as rainy as in New York as it is in France and southern Britain at the moment. Yeah. Get me a drink, Hugh, says Regan. Yeah.
Well, he says at the
Long
bar
Island.
door,
Long Island. Sorry.
Makes sense to ask him for one.
Yeah. Good evening, Pete, says Mad Monk. Hi, Mad Monk. You all right?
Good to see you, Mad Monk.
And yeah, just us. It's not many of us. There's a few more. Say hello in the chat.
I'm sure some people will start trickling in. I did ping the Discord community as well. So, yeah. And obviously, yeah, people will come over time anyway. So, oh dear. I suppose. Do you want to just go right into the videos, or should we just talk briefly about what we think of the COVID inquiry so far, guys?
Shall we introduce who Marcus is, in case anybody who might be living on a rock and probably everybody watches the channel knows who he is.
I'd say about 80%, 85, 90% of my viewers come from Marcus.
I know, but even so, we should still introduce him. Marcus, do you want to introduce yourself?
Oh, I'm Marcus. Okay, is that all?
Yeah, Marcus. No, that's fair enough, yeah.
Anyway, I'm Marcus, and I live in France, and I've got a YouTube channel that swears. No, actually does swear. I might do naughty things because they keep giving me strikes. You see, I get told off a lot. I do. I don't know. I think I've been shadow banned. Do you feel sorry for me yet?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, okay.
You've also got a few channels, haven't you?
For those who don't show, he has multiple YouTube channels such as Wally Boys, the Woodworking and Woodshop, Earthtrite as well, and he also has the AllShorts channel as well. You had another one set up recently, didn't you?
New tech.
Was there?
You know, I thought I dreamt that. I thought I woke up one day and I thought, did I dream that Marcus has set up a new tech channel? And I was like, yeah, I must have dreamt that.
I got a new tech as well.
And then I woke up, I checked it, and there it was.
Monetized. It's getting close.
Is it what, new tech?
Yeah.
Right, to being monetized.
I think it's 900 subscribers on it now, that thereabouts.
Yeah, so subscribe to that. Let's get Marcus monetized on that one as well. That'd be good.
My woodworking channel's gone stupid because I've been uploading videos on there for the last 2 weeks. No, 3 weeks. No, last 4 weeks I started uploading again, and that's gone a bit mental.
I'm gonna have to move your picture.
Like one video's done over 2.5 million views, which is a bit nuts.
Lee, why is AllShorts cut off?
I don't know. I think it's the way he's sat. No, it's okay. I'll just adjust your camera.
I'll move the microphone closer.
He's trying now. He's trying to cut me off, guys. It's just
industrial. There we go. Is that better? There we go. You can see all your face now, Marcus.
There we go.
Right.
Prevent that. Greater good.
We will have chopped off Wally though. When Wally appears, he won't be on screen as much.
Oh, he's in his basket now. He is behind me.
Right. Shall we move on then?
Yeah, let's go into the COVID inquiry. So, should we play one video and then we can play one of the videos and talk? Then we'll talk about it. Then, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, the COVID inquiry has gone a bit mental the last few days. So, which one do you want to start with?
Start with one of the oldest ones because you've not been able to talk much about it.
No,
me
I haven't really seen. I haven't seen much of the last in today, because I've had other things on. But deleting messages. Should we do that one before the COVID inquiry?
Yeah, do that one.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Let's go with that one. Oh, I've got a video.
He plays from
Thursday.
Hello, Duke Vengeance. Good to see you, buddy.
Put that date.
Sorry, we'll just skip that advert.
Half the channels on YouTube are Marcus, says Hugh. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, that is true. All right, here we go.
On the 15th of April of 2021, so just a matter of a few weeks before Mr. Johnson announced the public inquiry to Parliament, you turned on the disappearing message function in this WhatsApp group. New messages will disappear from this chat 7 days after they're sent. And if we look at the bottom of the page, August 2021, and then over the page to 115, it's obvious from the people who joined and left that the WhatsApp group continued.
Yes.
Why did you turn on the disappearing message function around the time that the Prime Minister announced a public inquiry into the COVID pandemic?
I cannot. I mean, I can guess or I can speculate, but I cannot recall exactly why I did so. So I don't believe it was intended to prevent the inquiry from having sight of this. It could, for example, have been because I was worried of someone screenshotting or using some of the exchanges and leaking them.
These are your closest colleagues, and you had obviously been engaging with them in this WhatsApp group for many, many months. In fact, from 16th of November 2020 until April 21, correct?
Yes.
There was no change in the number 10 system whereby emails were being sent to the Prime Minister and notes were being put into his red box, were there, around April?
No.
So it wasn't that the system had changed, requiring you to no longer engage in this WhatsApp communication. You just turned on the disappearing function.
Correct. But I didn't. I mean, again, I mean, I think I see what you're pushing at, but I didn't put disappearing function on any of my other WhatsApps, and the rationale for doing this is unclear to me, and I cannot remember that far out. But as I say, the PM updates WhatsApp group was based on a formal sort of flow of paperwork, and so arguably all of that material is still available to the inquiry.
This WhatsApp group is not available because the disappearing function was turned on by you in April 2021.
Correct.
Right.
What do you think of that?
He knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah. I thought well, what did he say? He was like, what, within days of the inquiry being announced, he suddenly turned that on. Oh, sorry, hang on.
Oh, like knows why they use WhatsApp.
What is
or he was told to.
WhatsApp?
They shouldn't be using WhatsApp, though, should they? For anything like that, it should be
Yeah.
secure.
There should be some sort of formal messaging system, whether it's like, Teams, even Teams, it would be better than that. But
Well, even using your personal phones, it shouldn't be, because we had the Suella Braverman uniquely sued, didn't we?
yeah,
You know, they shouldn't be using personal phones. I think they're in their position. I think they should be using government phones.
yeah,
They issued a phone for for government business.
Yeah, when I talked about this on Monday, about the WhatsApp messages, and I was just saying, like, WhatsApp shouldn't even be like, if you're going to have some kind of like social media, like, it should be maybe not even Microsoft Teams, maybe just an inbuilt one, possibly, one that's not available to that's not even used by the public or something, like really secure, like super secure.
Well,
possibly.
With his own operating system. It's
Yeah.
just completely
separate from.
The thing is, they're taking these phones home with them. They've only got to leave the phone unlocked.
Yeah.
And you'll get hold of it.
Yeah, I mean, most
data.
Most phones. I mean, I've worked in places where, where you're handling data and there, anything like that. Normally, you would have to have a lock on your phone, and it would shut off after 5 minutes. So it's to stop people doing that. So there are, I'm sure they've got things like that in place. When you look at WhatsApp, one of the things about it is the security in terms of the end-to-end encryption. So from that aspect of it, you can understand that if you don't want people tapping into that or hacking into it, then there is that security aspect of WhatsApp.
I get that, but when it's actually mixed with everything else, all their personal stuff.
Well, yeah,
it's got their own people, the connections on there.
Yeah,
they've only got to make a mistake.
Yeah.
Send it to the wrong person. That's what Leaky 2 said.
But the thing as well, they're treating it like it's not just like a formal thing. It's like they're messaging each other outside of in other channels outside of the of whatever the main ones, saying and talking to each other, slagging each other off, and like Dominic Cummings swearing and using very colourful language.
That's private messaging, isn't it? There should be a clear divide.
So it's it's a private. That's what I mean. They're using it as a private messaging app, and also like a group chat, like they were organising government, basically organising the COVID response through WhatsApp, which is ridiculous when you still put it that way. It's like people that we just use as just a chat.
We're not going to play the clip, but I saw a clip about roughly an hour ago on the BBC. There was one of Nicola Sturgeon basically coming out and saying that the Scottish government never used WhatsApp or any of the sorts like that.
Yeah.
As well, like they don't use WhatsApp, which is like the sort of thing. Oh, what the?
Oh, something's gone. Somebody's jumped on. No, somebody jumped on the group, I think. Then, didn't they?
Hold on. Yeah. Just carry on, guys.
Okay. That was a bit weird. Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, while Marcus does that.
Sorry about that. I don't know what on earth happened there.
Like somebody else jumped on the page.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah, I obviously there's a setting that I've done.
Right, which allows people
I shouldn't have done. Who's in the chat while you just?
Yeah, what people are saying in the chat. So just going back, half the channels on YouTube are Marcus's. Handyman channel sell well. Duke Vengeance, yeah, Duke. Colin Thompson. You said Colin Thompson is in New York. One Angry Pagan is here. Hi, Pagan. As I were watching this, I were mixed in rage and disbelief. Yeah, number 3's here. Hello, people. Hi, number 3. Ginger's here. Hi, Ginger. Wally, yes. Wally's in there somewhere.
Always outside in a minute. He'll be banging on the door, crying at the door in a minute.
Yeah. Chatty Rat says a link to his Chatty Rat's here. Hi, Chatty. The link to Dominic Cummings' 155-page statements and inquiries down. Blow me away with a hairdryer.
Volume high enough because
I've just turned it. I have just turned it up a bit. It's a bit lower.
It's okay now.
Yeah. You just say something. Just can't compare the two. And then you don't say anything, Regan. I mean, do say something.
Hello.
Right. Okay. I think. I think maybe just turn yours up a little bit. There we go. Right. Okay. Right. Number 3 says our government and constitution are utterly dysfunctional. Parliament is split down the middle, reinforcing a culture of permanent opposition to any and all proposals, even if they are sound. Yeah. Oh, God, that jumped a bit then. Ginger says, I know. And then Ben Shaw is here. I think we saw Ben Shaw before.
As the key
Daily
as
Blasé.
well.
Daily Blasé is here. Hi, Daily. Hi, Darren. Hope you're well. We did try messaging you before, but we didn't get an answer, so sorry about that. Alex is here, yeah. Hi, Daily Blasé, yeah. Hope you're well, Darren. Right. Is the video any issues with the video? Because they're getting messages about the streaming not being very good.
Were they saying that?
Nobody's saying
that in the chat.
Nobody's saying
no
anything.
one's saying that in the chat. No, it was working fine to me.
On the YouTube, let me just have a quick look at my.
Now what's come in?
So let's Lee, if there was any issues, people wouldn't chat with us.
Yeah, no, it's just YouTube's flagging it up. No, I've got 650 Mbps, so that's
it's fine.
Yeah.
Do you want to play a recent one?
Yeah. Okay. So let's have a look.
Let's talk about the one from today, or from Dominic Cummings.
Should we go through some with about Boris Johnson? People have talked about him.
Yeah.
Why? Why are we destroying the economy for people who die or anyway? Is another one.
Oh God, this one. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I just had to skip through the video. The advert was a bit long. Can't really do anything about it. We need this. We need Wally on at this point in time just to kind of.
Jatty Rat says for vids for all three of you is sound.
Right. Okay.
Alistair Keir said it's fine on his end. Oh, that's good. Good to see you, Pagan. Hope you're doing well, buddy, as well. Don't see you. Don't see you around often on the server, by the way.
Right. Should we do this then?
Why are we destroying the economy for people who will die anyway soon? The Prime Minister didn't want a lockdown because he believed, at least in part, that the consequences would be so damaging that given that large numbers of people would die anyway, there was no point.
I don't recognise that. I think he was extremely concerned about the other harms that would be caused with a lockdown.
There was a
non-COVID health, sort of people deprivation, education, all of these sort of incredibly important issues, alongside the incredibly important issues of protecting people from COVID.
And the no less important issue of death and harm.
Yes, and I think, I can't remember exactly when the Chief Medical Officer started to sort of categorise it, but he has quite a clear way of sort of demonstrating how death and harm can be caused through lots of different routes, of which direct COVID deaths is just one of those routes that you need to worry about.
On the 19th and 20th of March, the Prime Minister met the Chancellor of the Exchequer on at least 2 occasions. Perhaps they were meetings or phone calls, but...
Probably. I don't have the full record.
Could we have 146636, please? This is your diary, your notebook, page 92. Halfway down the page, we can see CX bilat. Is that a reference to a bilateral meeting between the Prime Minister and the Chancellor of the Exchequer?
It is, yes.
In quotes, we're killing the patient to tackle the tumour. Large PPL, numbers of people who will die. Why are we destroying everything for people who will die anyway soon?
I think that says economy.
Destroy the economy for people who will die anyway soon. Mr. Shafi, who said those words?
I can't say for sure. I think it was the former Prime Minister.
Do you reckon that's a Prime Minister? Go on, sorry.
I was going to say, considering this is the guy that allegedly said, let the bodies pile up high.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Don't forget, he's got a show on GB News. I wonder how well that's going to be taken.
Yeah,
now.
I mean, when does that start? That'd be interesting.
I don't know.
It's funny that it's been announced just before this week as well. It's almost like it was planned.
Yeah.
Well,
Maybe.
yeah, maybe they wouldn't have done it if he'd known what was coming up in the inquiry. Should we just play a character?
Ain't nothing good, is it?
No.
Yeah.
I think most people knew this, didn't they? To be honest.
Yeah.
And people in hospital, the elderly or the infirm or the ill, were described as bed blockers.
I think that was a term that was also widely used in DHSC and the NHS of people who didn't need to be in hospital.
Look at his face. Look at his face. He was absolutely terrified.
Yeah, no, that guy. Yeah, he looks. He looked like
he was
a rabbit in the headlights.
Absolutely terrified.
Yeah.
The face on that he looked, but
yeah,
he just swore the oath. Dominic Cummings done the oath, didn't he? But I thought he's an atheist.
Is he? Well, he swore a lot. I know that. They had to put no apologies. Oh yeah, I had to rewind to say listen to what he actually said about.
I have to admit, in some ways, I thought it was very, very funny, but in other ways, obviously, when you look at the devastation they caused.
Yeah, I think.
So, just for context as well, because I was listening to one or two other YouTubers. So, Hancock is going to be speaking at the inquiry, and so will Boris Johnson and Rishi Sunak. Believe it won't be till next month. So, I believe it's be around, I think it was like the 10th or 11th of December is around the Prime Minister will be speaking. And I think Matt Hancock will be later that month.
So this is going to be going on. So it's going to be going on for at least another month then.
Oh, this is going to drag for a while.
This is going to be on for a while.
Maybe Simon Case will be feeling a bit better then.
Yes. Hopefully he'll be healthy enough to be able to talk.
Wonder what's going on there.
That I'm as far from everything that I've heard so far. I mean, I will probably play one or two more, but Matt Hancock is looking like the scapegoat in all of this.
Yeah, it looks like they've lined him up to be the fall guy, don't they? But I mean, to be fair, he wasn't exactly. I don't think he didn't exactly cover himself with glory. But shall look at this.
As you get that one set up, I'll just say that they were getting pretty much everyone was kind of although Boris obviously was getting crap on him, and rightly so, a lot of people, there was a lot more thrown on Matt Hancock from everyone from all sides here. So he is being set up as the fall guy. Boris Johnson obviously will use GB News. GB News have been trying to cover him as much as possible, like slanging off the government and the people around Boris Johnson, but not actually Boris Johnson directly. So they're trying to cover him throughout all of this.
Well, Dominic Cummings yesterday, I have to admit, he kept us cool because I can't remember the guy's name, but his line of questioning was extremely arrogant. It was like a character assassination. And Dominic Cummings did keep us cool all the way through. And the amount of times he told, "Can you slow down, please? Can you slow down, please?" Cummings. It was just like
I can hear him. They can hear him. You don't need to say it. Like if there is a part where they needed him to slow down, like the judge would have said something.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone could perfectly hear what he was saying.
He wasn't going quick.
He does have a tendency to go off at tangents, though, doesn't he?
He does do that. So at those times, he was right to cut him off. When he was going on tangents because he was taking up pointless time. Because I watched the whole thing. So,
some of that questioning was pretty much off a tangent as well, to be honest. Because it wasn't really even about COVID. It was about him. It was about Dominic Cummings.
I did notice that. Yeah, do we do that? Should we do that on now? I've got a different one lined up for you. Right, okay, just give us a second to get that one.
And then we'll do one of the latest ones from today.
Okay. It might just be an advert before it, so I'll just have to skip that.
All right. While you do that, I'll just have a look in the chat. Everyone's saying hello. Nosolani is here. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. You would deer caught in the headlights look, says Alistair Keir.
Yeah,
Yeah, he did.
exactly. Yeah.
I've seen spiders with better handwriting than Boris, says Hugh.
How they can decipher what he said is unbelievable. It's like just horrendous.
Maybe that'd be his defence.
No, that wasn't what I was saying.
About?
He'll write out exactly what some other words that could possibly be feasible as the alternatives to what they were reading. Right, so I got this one lined up then, so we have a listen to this one then.
Okay.
Johnson says the Mail has up remnants of my Scottish break, so back in checkers and in a thoroughly homicidal mood. We need a plan for the Department of Education. Communication between him and Mr. K.
Sorry, just in a thoroughly homicidal mood. So basically, wants to go around killing people. Mail has effed up remnants of my Scottish break, so back in checkers and in a thoroughly homicidal mood. Wow.
Wait, I'm going nuts. Repeat that all again.
Mail has effed up remnants of my Scottish break, so back, as in, I think in a Daily Mail, I'll take it. So back in checkers and in a thoroughly homicidal mood, basically wants to kick off. So it's interesting. The next bit, sorry, just let me, I'll rewind that a little bit.
Yeah.
Between him and Mr. Kane. Communication between him and Mr. Kane and you at the bottom of the page. You say this.
Sorry, just go back to that because he doesn't really. I don't know if they skipped this, but says we need a plan for the Department of Education. We need a permanent secretary. We need better ministers, and quite frankly, we need an agenda of reform. We can't go on like this. I'm thinking of going into number 10 and firing people. So he's just
Comments.
like he's in a foul mood, so everybody has to. Everybody's up for it. He's going to kick off. He's just one of them. He's just like. Narcissistic is probably the word that you would use to describe him.
Incredibly nasty person.
Yeah. Right, sorry.
Him and Mr. Kane and you at the bottom of the page. You say this at 12:20. If I have to come back to Helen's bullshit PET, what's that, propriety and ethics, designed to waste huge amounts of my time so I can't spend it on other stuff, I'll personally handcuff her and escort her from the building. Had you got form, Mr. Cummings, for arranging for people to be escorted from number 10 before?
Yes,
you shouldn't believe everything you read in the newspapers. That story is not accurate.
I don't care how it's done, but that woman must be out of our hair. We cannot keep dealing with this horrific meltdown of the British state while dodging stilettos from that. We got to get Helen out of cab off. She's f***ing up Frosty. She's f***ing up me and Case. She's trying to get Spads fired and cause trouble on multiple fronts. Can we get her in Monday for chat re her moving to community local government or DFT Department for Trade? We need her out ASAP, building millions of lovely houses. Was that aggressive and foul-mouthed and misogynistic approach the correct way to manage fellow professionals?
I don't know what the Ferguson thing is referring to, but in terms of Helen, and the situation in the Cabinet Office, you need to understand that the Prime Minister had, first of all, tried to sack the Cabinet Secretary and then botched it, and he was still there. Then he'd said to everyone that he wanted Helen to be removed as well, and that he'd lost confidence in Helen. The new Cabinet Secretary had said that he wanted to have the authority to change both the PPS and choose his deputy, i.e. Helen. The Prime Minister had then trolleyed back on this as well. So we were in this absolutely nightmare situation where the PM had made clear that he didn't have confidence in either of the two senior officials, had said to people he was going to remove them, then he didn't remove them for week after week. This led to an absolutely nightmare situation. Now, my language about Helen is the language is obviously appalling, and actually I got on well with Helen at a personal level, but
what a nice guy.
So stop right there.
Well, that was words. Stilettos.
Have anybody heard an apology yet?
No.
Or
no.
A sorry for my foul mouth, unprovoked language.
He did actually at the end. He did apologise for my foul language. He said that right at the end.
Apologise for the language, but did he apologise for using it on
to them
Helen?
directly.
For who he directed out and what he'd said about them. I mean, he basically just said, "Oh, well, I might have used colourful language, but I got on well with her in reality." It's like,
yeah, but let's be fair to Dominic Cummings. He said himself that he was not. Why He was the wrong person
He
for
wrong
the
person.
job.
Yeah, he's the wrong. He shouldn't have been in. The fact that he was in number
You know?
10 was an absolute.
That's what's even more crazy. It's like, I shouldn't have been the wrong person for the job. Then what are you doing there in the first place?
But it's interesting that what you're saying about the trolley and like that. Literally, like he'd make Boris Johnson make a decision, and then he'd change his mind. Did you see the one of the pop-ins? He talks about pop-ins.
Yeah.
You see that bit?
Yes,
Pop out.
yeah, we see
So,
about the pop-ins.
so people
Oh.
basically, yeah. So when Boris Johnson, if anybody hasn't seen it, when Dominic Cummings wasn't in the building with
Cummings is
and
gone.
these
Quick,
others,
let's go in.
they all pop in, just have a quick word
Yeah,
in Boris Johnson's ear. They all have a bit of a natter in his ear, and he changed his mind because he knew it was so easy to just go in and put an idea in his head, a bit of seed of doubt or whatever, and just kind of get him to change
Lobbying,
his mind.
really, and that's
This
what
is-
it
that's
Internal
a-
lobbying.
Yeah, but the fact that he was so easily manipulated in that manner just proves that he was completely wrong person.
This is why Karen was the most powerful out of everyone, because she's a woman
Carrie.
and she's his wife.
Carrie, yeah, because she probably held
because-
when she spoke to him, she probably held more sway than anybody else.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's probably why Cummings ended up going out, because he went to war with her and lost.
Yeah, and lost. Well, yeah, because he'd obviously pick a choice between Dominic Cummings and his mistress. His mistress won, stroke wife. Don't know what she was at the time.
Which one? Which one are you talking about? You talking about
The alleged Russian.
advisor.
What about that alleged Russian violin player? Is it a violin player?
Yeah.
Allegedly.
The other thing as well is that one thing that I mentioned, that doesn't get mentioned a lot, is I sympathise so much with the civil service in all of this.
Yeah.
Like, they're just trying to do their job, and they can't do their job because the government don't bloody know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And
There should be a clear divide as well.
Yeah.
You know, the government has too much too much interference in what the civil service has to do.
But the point is that the civil service is there. The government is supposed to say, right, this is what we want the civil service to do, and then the civil service goes off and does it. But
does it? Yeah.
But it doesn't. It seems like that isn't the way it works, is it? It's like, but there's so many layers in the civil service, and nobody knows. He talks about it. I don't know if it's in this video about how you try and find out who had overall responsibility for certain areas, and nobody actually could give you an answer. Nobody knew.
He kept
who owned
saying
that.
the system, and I was just like, "What do you mean the system?"
Or the
Like,
machine.
It might need reforming, but probably I wouldn't put him in charge of reforming it. He's the last person you want. He'd sack everybody.
You mentioned a minute ago, Lee, about the civil service has an instruction, and they, from the ministers, what have you, to do, and they're supposed to perform that instruction.
Yeah.
But they can only do it if it's within the boundaries of the law.
Yes.
There's that as well.
We've
Yeah.
had that regarding the refugee state.
Yeah.
Immigration.
Yeah, and then they're like, well, we can't do that because that's against the law, and then they threaten them, and then
Exactly,
they
that's
all
all
this
the
kind
law.
of stuff, and it's just like, you're asking me to break the law. I can't break the law. Like, you guys make the laws, change the law so we can do it. That's basically what the civil servants were saying, but instead they just get madder at the civils them, and it's just.
There are a lot of people in the civil service who've worked there for decades, who've worked under various different governments, left and right, and they just do the job. They, whatever they're asked to do, they do it. Obviously within the law and within the rules, but and the whole point in the civil service is supposed to be impartial. But obviously there's a point where where you're asked to do something and you go, well, that's just unethical, or it's against the law or whatever, and there has to be.
Has to be questioned.
Yeah.
The thing is, before you could reasonably expect that they were getting reasonable requests. With the likes of Suella Braverman and this recent batch, we've been bad batch, you could say, I suppose, of Tories. The requests have been a little bit extreme.
Yeah. So we just watch the end of this video and then we'll go through the chat as well.
Oh, the chat.
1,000 times worse than my bad language is the underlying issue at stake, that we had a cabinet office system that had completely melted, and the Prime Minister had half begun the process of changing the senior management and then stopped. So me and other people were desperately trying to build a new system with a new cabinet secretary. over this period in order to get ready for September. And then suddenly we were getting dragged out of meetings on things like test and trace and vaccines to be told that we had to deal with Cabinet Office HR issues and legal questions regarding judicial reviews and jolly on morn. This is, I mean, Kafkaesque nightmare doesn't even begin to explain it. So I apologise for my language towards Helen, but 1,000 times worse than my language was the underlying insanity of the situation in number 10.
Which you were part of.
Yeah, apologies. Yeah. Just going back to the chat. Jeannie Bottles here. Hi, Jeannie. We should not
Hi,
believe
Jeannie.
what we
Hi,
read
hi.
in newspapers.
Hi,
Zhao's here too. Good to see you, Zhao.
Zhao's here. No DLC. So Larry the Cat's here. I see Cheese Sniffer Dowden was doing the rounds today. Was he? He put him out. He looks. Anybody looks like a rabbit caught in the
Don't tell
headlights.
Sir Larry what was said at the COVID inquiry about Boris wanting to kill
Dead cats.
allegedly Larry the Cat.
He wanted a dead cat.
He
Something.
wanted a
Deer
dead
caught in the
cat.
headlights. Yes.
Yeah. So Larry, don't listen to that. Don't hear. You didn't hear that.
One Angry Pagan says, if anyone knows Terry Pratchett's Discworld series, this style of running a government in crisis reminds me of both Lord Rust in Jingo and Lord Winder in Night Watch. We need a Lord Veterinary. Lol. Okay, I'm sure that means a lot. It means something really funny in Discord, people, but I've never read Discord. Sorry, apologies. Casey's had a nervous breakdown, no doubt. Ah, well, keep the wards, plastic flowers away from him, nurse, says Hugh. Terry Christian was good on Good Morning Britain this morning, or was it yesterday? Yeah, I think I heard James O'Brien mention. No, sorry, not James O'Brien. Graham Hughes mentioned him today, I think. Yeah. Hi, folks. Better late than never, says Jeannie. Hi, Jeannie. Hughes says, since Marcus is here, might as well make this show 3 hours long as well.
I've done 7 hours before, you know.
So Larry Cat says, our
7
dear old
hours.
demonic scummings. Ofcon have just said, and BBC have just said the C word, and we haven't had our lunch yet, says Hugh. That was, yeah, Ofcom. Yeah, they've had a bit of a telling off, haven't they? Odious Gremlin says Duke Vengeance. I watched the Helen in question earlier. She's a sensible civil servant who questions some of the activities. We'll get onto a video of her in a short while.
We're gonna look at a video in a moment. Yeah. So
I'm just trying to go through, see if there's anything in there. Oh, Lord, jump. Zhao's here. Hi, Zhao. Brexit inquiry next year, hopefully. This is Hugh. After Labour get in, I've heard on the grapevine what's it, and it'll be exactly the same guest.
yeah, can we have an inquiry on the austerity as well?
Well,
Yeah,
I hope there's going to be a thing on the whole PPE. Are they going to cover that in this COVID inquiry on the whole PPE, the VIP label?
I'm sure they might ask that question to Matt Hancock.
Oh, yeah.
So you're right down the pub.
Yeah. One Angry Pagan is pretty sure I heard Cummings say himself that he should not have been allowed near number 10. Yeah, that is true.
Yep.
Carrie is worse than the Stephen King book and movie. She's also a horror nightmare, it seems, says Hugh. Yeah. Am I seeing triple, says Zhao. Dominic is not an appropriate name for him. Okay. Who's replaying my voice?
He's making sure you've been heard.
Yeah.
Do you want to go to another clip?
If you want to carry on reading some of the comments, I'll just.
Yeah. Do you want to just get that set up? Carrie was worse than Stephen King. Everyone's saying hello to each other. Zhao says you're seeing triple. Yep, there's 3 people here. I think he was clever. LOL. England's Trump other nations, says number 3. Scummins wanted to get rid of the civil service and run it through his AI algorithm, says Larry the Cat.
Yeah.
Moggy is a dead cat, says number 3. Good to see you, number 3, if I didn't say hello earlier. Helen McIntyre said, yep, and I quote, I think we are absolutely effed. Helen speaking to her team after finding out there was no plan for the pandemic preparedness. Hugh says, I said earlier, Dominic Cummings looked like he was the only who was on his way to a Northern Soul gig. He looked the type. Queue up Dewey Street. Number 3 says, my old joke, what is a 4-letter C word? Fish.
Very good. Very good.
Very
I like
good.
that one. Right. So just talking of Helen McNamara, so I moved on to her videos.
Yeah,
so
I haven't. I've only watched a few. I haven't watched the inquiry today. I've been busy, but let's listen to this one.
You make the point that the Cabinet was told, in your words, time and time again by the Health Secretary that we had plans in place.
Yeah.
In your hearing,
Yes.
was there any ambiguity looking back?
No.
Had you assumed that when he said that, he knew what he was talking about?
I assumed he'd seen them and been through them and thought they were adequate. I thought that's what he was saying.
As it turns out, that really couldn't have been the case, could it?
I mean, you'd have to ask him, but I would not understand a scenario where these plans did exist and yet we never got them.
Can I move on and ask you about just one other issue relating to this period, and that's the so-called chickenpox parties. It's been publicly discussed, has it not, this idea that your boss, the Cabinet Secretary, Mark Sedwill, was talking at this stage about chickenpox parties. And Mr. Cummings was asked about this yesterday, and his evidence was that he was profoundly shocked when he heard about these discussions, because they seemed to him to indicate quite how far removed from reality, if you like, people's understanding, including Mr. Sedwill's, were of the pandemic and how far it had reached. Your take on this is that, if you like, it provides an insight into the way people were thinking about the pandemic as late as early March.
I think it really shows our lack of understanding. I think our collective, and I can't say what basis this was on, but I don't think we understood how serious COVID could be for certain people. I don't think we properly understood any of the serious consequences like long COVID, any of these things. And I think we definitely did have the mindset that the thing to do was to, you know, if you had COVID, then you'd be better, and then it would be better because you weren't going to get COVID again. The notion that we'd be reinfected. Now, that could just be our collective ignorance rather than something that was said. I definitely don't remember Mark Sedwill advocating chickenpox parties. It's more revealing of what we were thinking at the time and our level of our lack of understanding, I think.
Well, that's irresponsible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The other thing is they did say that they had enough PPE because of the Brexit preparedness, and that was, turned out to be a load of rubbish.
Yeah. The firm I work for, they had a load of PPE because I won't go into the details of it, but based on the bird flu outbreak I think it was in China or something, or not, the SARS outbreak, and they basically bought a load of PPE, and it ended up going to the NHS in the air for COVID, but it was sat there for like over a year, about 2 years. Yeah, so they probably the company I work for had more preparedness than the government, it seems.
Well, they didn't know what they're doing anyway, to be fair, because the masks they were using were negative pressure masks, and they're the wrong type of masks if you're wearing for that purpose. You're breathing out straight out.
The mask situation was this was never about this was all about how to make money at the expense of the taxpayer, really, when it came to it, and how they could get really, really cheap ones, isn't it?
Well, it's how they can enrich their donors and their friends.
Enrich their donors, shareholders, whatever, and just enrich themselves at the expense of us taxpayers.
Yeah.
I don't think that was the original plan, but that's how it panned out. Yeah.
Well, no, probably not when they first started it. They probably didn't think, what, how can we? At some point, somebody must have thought, how can we help donors? If we're gonna, somebody come up with the idea of the VIP scheme, VIP lane. That just didn't happen in out of nowhere. Somebody thought of the idea. Oh well, if we're gonna have to get all this PPE, we might as well make sure that our donors get first choice on it, first dibs. At the expense, I mean, really, cost lives just on the fact that there were businesses that had the equipment, that did have the contacts, that were able to get the PPE quickly, and probably significantly less cost than what the government end up paying for it, or the taxpayer end up paying for it. And the government wouldn't even respond to them because they weren't on the PPE list, the VIP list. Sorry, you just it really. I find it hard to. Sorry, can
Did
you?
you hear Sajid Javid on LBC?
No, Sajid Javid.
He's been, the
caller.
Yeah, when somebody called in, a nurse or having, she had a right old go at him about the quality of the PPE and stuff like that. It was just below par. Regarding the aprons, the gloves, basically everything really. And then obviously they couldn't get enough masks, could they? The other thing is the knock-on effect from this as well. There's other health issues that have turned up since COVID, because of COVID, and because people like in industry such as my industry and woodworking and what have you, or working on site, couldn't get the masks either because of COVID.
Right.
And you talk about carcinogens and what have you. So that isn't very good.
No.
I think it's very important to stress that it was not the case that we didn't have enough the mask originally. It was the fact that we were not getting them from the UK originally. We were getting them from
China.
It was China, whatever. Like anywhere they could get them dirt cheap. They didn't want to get them from the businesses that could make them, that had them ready and prepared and all that kind of stuff. They would just wait, wasn't there? There was lots of people calling in on different shows or whatnot. People saying like, we've got them ready here. We just need the government to come and get them, basically. And they never came and got them.
They were still imported ones from China and places like that. Some people got stocks of them.
Yeah,
because they're buying.
But there were UK businesses who had them ready, and the government weren't taking them.
Well, they didn't want to know about that.
No.
But they didn't really have the facilities to make them in the UK until they actually started So okay, we could do it. They're quite simple things. They're just steam pressed. That's all they are.
But I think it was the fact that they just literally didn't want to know because they decided that people in the VIP lane would get priority over everybody else. And they
also, they just get from one place, not like lots of little people.
And well, I mean, even the test kits all come from China, didn't they? So
yeah.
No, we were selling masks to masks to Europe as it was building up as well.
Yeah, there was that. Yeah.
There was that as well. Instead of the government here saying we can get them on the cheap, like actual working, proper functioning masks. No, we were still selling them abroad. Because Boris, remember the Prime Minister at the time as well, he was against all enforcing masks anyway, wasn't he?
Yeah. Well, the initial advice was don't worry, you don't need to wear a mask at first. You'd see people in the street and it was like they were wearing masks and it was like, well, they're telling us not to wear them, so what should you do? But no, I mean, just going back to the corruption element of it, I was reading, I put a post up a couple of years ago during the sort of 2021, so sort of the tail end of the pandemic. The government was they're using. Remember when they went for a PCR test? If you tested positive at home, you had to go for a PCR test, or if you've been in contact with somebody to make sure proper.
If you got notification, whatever.
To say that test whether you actually had the whether you were positive or not. And they all had these gazebos. They weren't massive, just gazebos, and it was to cover the they're doing because they're all in car parks and things like that. And those things cost about £500 to buy new from a supplier in the right. So £500. Serco, they're employing Serco, who were leasing them to the government at £450 a week. So literally, for an extra £50, you could buy one, but no, they were paying 20,000 a year per gazebo. Bear in mind, there's at least one of them at every PCR test centre, probably like 2 or 3, maybe 5, depending on how big the testing centre was. Serco were making an absolute killing on that, and that's before you even any employees, anybody to do the testing or anything like that. The cost of all that.
That's paying for it, not. As taxpayer, us
that's just literally stripping our. They talk about we have to reduce tax and we have to cut back on this and cut back on that. We can't afford this, but yet they just don't. There's no cost measurements, cost reduction
Well,
or.
I can remember the days when we used to do a lot of this sort of stuff ourselves in house.
Yeah.
Whether it be roadworks or anything like that
Yeah,
as well.
direct
Those are all
works.
shipped out there.
Each council had direct works, didn't they, back in the day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You used to have city works to Norwich.
Yeah.
And then that got shipped out.
Yeah. So the direct works, you'd literally any work that needed to be done by the council, whether housing or whatever, the roads, everything would be done by the council. It was the Tories
that brought and the Brexiters.
The Tories brought in the thing about you have to have open to the free market to allow. I mean, Stockport Council what they did was they converted the direct works into a private firm that was owned by the council, and they bid for stuff. So they still effectively did a lot of the direct works themselves. It's just under a different name. I think a few other places do.
In France.
Yeah.
Every mairie looks after everything themselves,
Yeah,
apart from the Route Nationale.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, we're going a bit off topic now. So, but yeah, there's just the corruption in it is ridiculous. But right, we've got another one then.
Yeah.
One way of describing what was shown, although I'm not sure these exact words are in your review, would be that there was a toxic culture in Downing Street in the Cabinet Office at the time. And the inquiry has heard evidence, in fact heard evidence yesterday, of the repeated use of extremely crude language in, for example, WhatsApps sent between members of a Downing Street team. Was that, do you think, one aspect, or perhaps a product, of that type of toxic culture that you are reporting on in your review?
It was definitely a toxic culture.
The inquiry saw yesterday some particularly crude WhatsApp exchanges between Dominic Cummings and Boris Johnson about you.
If I have to come back to Helen's bullshit PET, designed to waste huge amounts of my time so I can't spend it on other stuff, I'll personally handcuff her and escort her from the building. I don't care how it's done, but that woman must be out of our hair. We cannot keep dealing with this horrific meltdown of the British state while dodging stilettos from
be
that.
so angry.
Was Dominic Cummings part of that toxic culture, part of the problem?
The things that Mr. Cummings, having seen those messages, it was, it's horrible to read, but it is both surprising and not surprising to me, and I don't know which is worse, actually.
To pause it there for a second. The very fact that she said that it didn't surprise her as well. And
Well, she said it's surprising and unsurprising at the same time.
Sorry, I was just going to say, yeah, surprising and unsurprising just shows how vile Dominic Cummings really is. Like, he is an extremely vile man. I have watched this clip already, but earlier today, but just hearing it again and just for her to have to hear it again, it's just so. Yeah, you know where I'm coming from.
Yeah, but also she's like they've gone through that, and now she's coming in the day after, when it's fresh in everybody's minds as well, and she's having to kind of go up and almost defend herself as from his horrific comments about her and character destruction of her. Even though he said he got on well with her on a personal level. Jesus, I mean,
I don't know if he asked that question.
With friends like that, who needs enemies, as my dad used to say. But yeah, go on, Marcus.
Oh, sorry, mate. I just for sort of building site culture myself, and even we didn't really get that not to that level.
No, he's nasty.
Extreme, really.
It's nasty, the sort of stuff he's saying there. It's not. It's not even
it's just foul, and it used to get the usual kind of misogynistic stuff, obviously on building sites. I'm talking about 15, 20 years ago. And
the language, obviously, on building sites is quite nasty, but pretty foul. Yeah,
it can be pretty foul.
Yeah.
It can be pretty foul.
It's
an environment. It's just and it's a very male-dominated environment.
Yeah,
That's exactly what's happening here as well. It seems like the misogynistic. You go on about system, but it does seem the machine seems to be geared towards men.
Yeah,
and the women seem to get pushed to one side, even though they're very capable, very good at a job.
I was on. Yeah, it was, I think it was Dominic Cummings yesterday, and they were saying about how the women were the rooms where the meetings were being held they didn't have a space to have everybody, so it'd just be all the men, all mainly male white middle-aged men, and then everybody else had to dial in, and they would literally talk over the women as they were trying to give their opinion or say something.
But was that the case because they needed to create space, or was that because they just couldn't fit them in the room?
No, I think it was probably with the social distancing in the room, they couldn't have everybody in there. Was I suppose the reason.
Do we really think they were following the rules?
Well, we know they weren't, but
weren't really.
and probably some of these. I don't think number 10 isn't a huge place, is it? So some of these rooms, meetings rooms, are probably pretty small, or not big enough to have like 50 or 60 people in there. But they said these anybody they just talk over them and wouldn't take their opinions seriously. And even Dominic Cummings said that he was approached by several female members of staff who said this to him. He's like, we're not being taken serious. Now he says he raised it, so I don't know how far that went.
He did say he wasn't misogynistic because he's equally foul to everybody.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, it's just like I don't care if you're a man or woman. I'm just going to treat you the same.
Call you see you next Tuesday. Yeah, right.
Shall we just hear the rest of it?
Yeah. Well, then we'll go into the chat as well because. Sorry, you're going to say something, Marcus, or?
Yeah, no, I forgot now.
All right, sorry. Right, okay. Oh, I got the spinning wheel.
I think that he was frustrated with me at the time. I would absolutely own that. I'm sure lots of this is not for you, but the two things in particular that he was cross about, one was the appointment of David Frost as the National Security Advisor. Mr. Cummings in those messages is also frustrated with me and says that I was sacking special advisors, which I never did, would never be my role. The particular thing that he looks to be extremely cross about in the August is because we were involved in an employment tribunal where he had in fact dismissed a special advisor, and I was insisting on him telling the truth to the employment tribunal, and he didn't respond well to that. So, I mean, yes, surprising and not surprising. It wasn't a pleasant place to work. It is also revealing of exactly the wrong attitude to the civil service, if I may. I was doing my job as a civil servant, and that I'm confident about that, and the way in which it was considered appropriate to describe what should happen to me, yes as a woman, but yes as a civil servant. It's disappointing to me that the Prime Minister didn't pick him up on the use of some of that violent and misogynistic language.
Well, that was going to be my next question, because Mr. Cummings has been asked about the messages that he sent. But of course, is the point you make, which is that we have seen that Mr. Johnson was a participant in not just that WhatsApp group, but plenty of others where this sort of language, that sort of abuse was used. And drawing on your experience in the Cabinet Office, what is your reaction to what appears to have been his failure to try and stop that sort of language, that sort of attitude prevailing?
It's just miles away from what is right or proper or decent or what the country deserves.
We were just saying, just before we played the rest of that clip, about how civil servants are treated differently, and there she was doing her job, and basically, essentially, there Cummings was I think she didn't say it there, but I think Cummings was basically trying to basically influence her to say, like, you can't tell them what really happened, or you can't say the truth when it comes to that other tribunal that she was in. And because she was doing her job...
Well, it wasn't her tribunal. It was his tribunal that he was having to take part in, wasn't it? So,
yeah.
And she was saying, you've got to tell the truth. And he was like, no, from what she's saying there. Sorry, but go on anyway.
Yeah, but... and then... she was just getting all this abuse just for doing her job. So Larry the Cat says Scummins is an equal opportunistic bellend.
Yeah.
So just wanted to put that out there. So not my words. That was the words of Sir Larry the Cat. Just want to put
You
that
know
for
how
the
uncomfortable
record.
she was.
Yeah.
How uncomfortable she was having to relive it.
Well, yeah.
On camera in front of the world as well.
And especially like you were saying, like she was the Prime Minister Jacob Rees-Mogg. God, heaven forbid. Boris Johnson was, he was part of that. He used similar sort of language and things. So,
Well, he's got a reputation for it, hasn't he?
yeah.
I'll just run through some of the chat. So number
Yeah.
3 says next year could be even worse, the same way with the Tories still in charge. Hugh says sometime, but it will be completely different, like Monty Python COVID. Twas just a mere scratch. Jal says about 15 days into the pandemic, when normal masks were deemed useless, conical masks became abundant and mandatory. I thought masks sat ready, says Jeannie Bottle. Doscally says the IIRC Scottish Government bought machines to make PPE rather than waiting for others to make and deliver it. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure someone in the chat will say that. Number 3 also says Eton doesn't really do science, hence the bollocks.
Hugh, just this one. Hugh says, my local undertaker bought a new Jaguar after COVID and run for his daughter, his deputy. Not making this up, they made a fortune. Many undertakers refused to deal with COVID deaths. So, yeah. So he basically made... Yeah, go on. Sorry, carry on where you're up to. Just that one just stood out there.
Nice big contracts to pest control companies while UK companies were selling PPE to Europe, says Sir Larry the Cat. Alistair Kidd confirming what Nossalee said. Yep, and had to bypass NHS England to go directly to get the PPE for those in Scotland. Jasper Edwards says it's not fair. I got 2 jabs and other people didn't get the jab. I still could travel overseas. I could not go in home store until I had my 2nd jab.
Can you remember when one of the COVID, the PPE contracts was actually, there's a middleman who was, I think it was Spanish middleman. He earned like 22 million out of this deal.
Yeah.
And the final payment was going to push it to over 30 million.
Yeah.
Just to be the middleman.
He did nothing. He just introduced the company, or he basically just organised the order between them and the Chinese. Yeah. And made an absolute fortune. Yeah.
Federation of Lab Scientists offered their services with over 10,000 labs with PCR testing kits. Their offer was dismissed in favour of the government. Crony, says Nossolini. One angry paper says
Sorry, go on.
We half a rich history of science on these islands, and the Tories half a shat all over it, says Pagan. Yep, they sure did. Test and Trace was run by Serco using the NHS label, legal from the 2012 Act. Cameron, I think, says number 3. That would not surprise me. Ginny Bottle says local people doing local work for local people to use. The inclination place in Camaricium was inside the livestock market. Big drive in building. All you could smell was sheep and cattle. SHIT. Alistair Keir says number 3, replying to number 3 exactly, in 38 billion failed. Noscoli said you only ever had one job where swearing was like a common. I only ever had one job where swearing was like a commonplace. I immediately walked out when it was directed at me. I'm sorry you had to work in a place like that. That's disgusting. Jal says, after listening to what the DC has said in the previous months and years, a lot in these channels, my only surprise is how can he sit there and even open his mouth to say anything anymore? Then I am sorry. No shame, no accepting their fault and recognising areas, nothing at all. Impressive, he says, Jal.
Narcissism, that's what it is. Narcissistic tendencies.
Casper says, what about the side effects of vaccines? Yeah, there was side effects. Some people had side effects, some people didn't. I think that's important to stress.
Just on the side. Go on, sorry, Marcus, what are you saying?
So there's recent, I think there's a Guardian article where there's found links between the vaccine and increase in older people, increase in strokes.
Yeah, but they're also, I mean, the COVID itself is also a stroke risk because it causes blood clots. So
Not sure.
the-
I'm having mine tomorrow.
yeah. Well, you're lucky because they're not even mandated it here, unless
No.
you're in a vulnerable group. So well, you can't even get one. Not even mandated. You can't get one. You can't go
No.
into the pharmacy and get one. You can get your flu jab, but not that.
I'm having
just
flu and COVID tomorrow.
yeah. My dad had that the other week, so last week. So what I was saying about side effects. The issue is like people say, oh, there's loads of side effects. Look at all these number of side effects. But when I had a side effect from the first one, I had a rash after my first. I had what was it,
You had Moderna.
Moderna.
There was Pfizer. There was Pfizer. There was Moderna. There was AstraZeneca.
Yeah. I had Moderna.
Yeah.
So I was one of the first a group that had Moderna in the UK.
Yeah.
When I went after about 10 days, I suddenly, literally 10 days later, I was having a shower, and I suddenly noticed like blotch on my arm, and then there was like, it was on other parts of my body. It was mainly the one on my arm, and I looked it up, and it was called Moderna arm. I think it's called Moderna arm. Was it on my arm? I can't remember. It was just like a circle, about that big. And it was apparently it's a common thing in America. There's lots of cases here in America, and it basically just appeared and then disappeared near where the actual where it had the vaccine. And so when I went for the second thing, he said, have you had any side effects? And I said, well, I've had this Moderna arm. And they're like, what's that? And I had to explain to them what it was, but they took note of it. So the thing is, that would be classed as a side effect. But literally, like the next day, it was a bit itchy at first. Next day, it went down and it just disappeared. And there's no other side effects from that. But that has to be recorded as a side effect, and like all medicines do. And so there'll be thousands of cases, maybe tens of hundreds of thousands of cases of people having this. And they'll all be in that big, massive number of people who've had side effects. So yeah, there are side effects to these vaccines, but only a small number of those are actually like really dangerous and fatal. Were some fatalities, but nowhere near as many as the conspiracy theorists make out. And they tricked the numbers to make it look worse than it actually was. But yeah,
I had Pfizer for both of mine. What did you have? Do you remember what you had, Marcus?
Yeah, I had Pfizer and I think Moderna.
I think I had Pfizer for my third one. I think it was Pfizer. They stopped really doing the AstraZeneca after a while, didn't they?
Yeah, they stopped it because they was getting a lot of criticism, weren't they?
Yeah,
it was over the kids, over young people.
If you're over a certain age or something. There was some. I think it was actually high risk of stroke. Actually, it was one of the threats or something.
I think one of the things was we were finding it wasn't very good with younger people. It caused problems.
People, was it?
Yeah, I think so.
I know they were. I know the company was on the stock market, throughout the period, and they still are.
Yeah. Oh well, AstraZeneca's a massive company. Massive. It's actually not far from me, about 10-15 miles away. Is one of the main sites in Alderley Edge. Yeah, massive company. But they do lots of different types of medication and things like that. That's vaccination was just one of them. Right.
Yeah, Jal was just basically saying what you were saying. Vaccinations does have secondary effects. The issue that is most secondary effects are temporary, and the vaccine remained in the body to provide resistance, not immunity to the COVID. A lot of people do not understand vaccines and are not pills of instant effect. Most of the vaccines are teaching your body to identify and fight the disease. Long COVID is an effort on some people to have developed of a lack of immunity to COVID, and some people got the effects of the vaccine in reverse. That's from Jal. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
I guess we're not going to be covering the other stories, Lee.
Well, I was just going to. There's a couple of more videos. One is about Downing Street. This is from what's his name, Helen McNamara, and one is about the government not understanding how the NHS works.
Yeah,
should we have a look at that one?
Yeah, let's have a look at that.
Right. I'll just bring it up.
Yeah, we'll skip all the articles today.
Maybe we can just jump through them quickly at the end. We've got a few. They have gone a bit over, but I mean it is a special, so we are allowed to go over a little bit.
Yeah, it won't hurt. So I'm sure you guys are enjoying this show anyway. So
I do not remember anyone working in the centre or who was part of the conversations who had a detailed understanding of the way the NHS operated. this is not unusual or unique to that time. Social policy and the operational management of the state is always underrepresented in the centre of power, whereas the Treasury, foreign policy and national security are overrepresented. Just going back to the first sentence, you say you don't remember anyone working in the centre or who was part of those conversations who had a detailed understanding of the way the NHS operated. Yeah. Given all we've heard about the importance of the NHS, and not just in terms of caring for people, but the detail, whether it was going to be overwhelmed or not, that's a very striking statement.
Yes, it was an observation at the time and is striking in retrospect as well. I think it probably goes to what needs to be different in the future, is that it oughtn't be possible to kind of start from that primary level of ignorance. It causes problems, and it was something we felt very strongly at the time, that just actually having people who were literate in the NHS would have been more useful.
No doubt there were attempts to educate the Prime Minister, his advisors, his ministers in the way the NHS worked, and we've seen, for example, Simon Stevens came to meetings, of course, Chris Whitty. But was that a sticking plaster that did the job, or do you think there was still a deficit that actually led to imperfections in policy decisions?
I think if you were starting again, you might think quite differently about what is the skills and expertise and knowledge that ought to be available immediately for a Prime Minister to help support them on the business of the day, whatever it is. So, for example, there's been a military attaché in the Prime Minister's private office for a very long time, for very good reasons, because when the Prime Minister is taking decisions which relate to the deployment of the military, then having somebody who can sit right by the side of the Prime Minister and translate and explain and bridge that gap is very important and useful. I'm not my place, and I wouldn't be suggesting there need to be a series of attachés. What I'm saying is that I think this is an endemic problem, that having more actual operational and detailed experience of important things for our country, it'd be better if the Prime Minister could have those in-house, as well as, yes, absolutely always should be relying on the Chief Medical Officer and the Secretary of State for Health, because what, in my view, you don't want Number 10 or the Cabinet Office ever to be is a sort of mini replication of the entirety of Whitehall. Good government works when everybody is doing their jobs well and the centre is doing its job well, and trying to recreate everything in the centre of Whitehall, as I think probably this experience shows in a pretty gruesome way, does not work.
Essentially, there was no connection between there wasn't a strong connection between the National Healthcare Service and government.
Madness.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I think it's fair to say the Health Secretary, Matt Hancock, he was pretty darn disgraceful. As we've already said, that he's going to get thrown under a bus when he's being used. It looked like he's being used as the scapegoat. But I think that's probably because of I'm speculating here, but I think maybe if what Cummings was saying was true about trying to get rid of Matt Hancock, and maybe if he had got rid of him, maybe perhaps there would have been better forms of communication between the Health Secretary, the NHS, and government, and perhaps more lives potentially could be saved. But I'm just speculating at that bit.
You've got Boris Johnson in the mix. Nothing's going to run smoothly. He's not exactly a finely oiled machine, is he?
Mm.
He's, like they say, he's like a trolley. He just jumps from one thing to the next. He can't focus on anything, and he gets lobbied by his own people. When the pop-ins come in.
Does anybody remember just before the pandemic? Well, after he'd become Prime Minister, and then in the lead up to the pandemic, he was going around hospitals late at night. Do you remember that? Do you remember that?
I do.
He was being like having selfies with people.
Famous wasn't that also when the famous person criticised him in the hospital?
I think that was like a photo op, and he said why is all the press here? And he's like, There are no press. He's like, well, who are they? At the end, they're all like cameras.
And he pointed literally at the cameras when that was happening.
Do you mean there's no press?
Yeah.
No, but he was literally doing it. No, but he was doing it at night before. Well, there was nobody around, and people were just catching him and taking selfies with him. Because he was just being shown around hospitals, and you kind of wonder whether, I don't know. So in the conspiracy theory world, you go, oh, he must have known about COVID, or whether it was about the sale of the NHS, and they were looking at what it was. What I don't know. I don't know what it was, but it was very bizarre because it didn't just happen like once or twice. It was quite a few times. He was caught in hospitals, wandering around, being shown around in the middle late at night.
Who's the minister with the dodgy hair? I get a bit of feedback here.
Well, there's loads of them there.
The guy with the highlights, and he's
Michael Fabricant.
No, no, not that. That's just a wig. That is.
That's a
oh no, he's was he the police minister or something?
I don't know. Well, the one who's just got done recently.
No, not that one.
No, not Mark Rowley. There was the one before. God,
you know what I mean, don't you?
I think I know what you mean.
He's been interviewed, wasn't he? I can't remember what, probably by Channel 4 or something like that. And he says, "Have you seen Boris Johnson?" Because and then they spun the camera around. Remember?
Oh yeah, he's. No, I haven't seen him. I don't know. He's around somewhere, whatever. And he's literally right behind it. Wasn't
he? There he was. He's behind him,
just like talking to somebody else. And he's like, "No, I haven't seen. I don't have no idea where he is." Yeah. Yeah. It's just, well, it's like I don't know, gaslighting, or I don't know. It's just, but before we move on, just this one we pointed out from before, how Boris Johnson wanted to dead cat COVID in autumn 2020 because he was fed up with the issue.
Don't look, Sir Larry, don't look.
According to Dominic Cummings' witness statement in the autumn of 2020, Johnson said he wanted to dead cat COVID because he was fed up with the issue. Cummings told him rightly this would never work. So to read it, my relations with the PM were in bad state and getting worse. By June, he was blaming me for, in his words, bouncing him into the first lockdown and saying he should have been the mayor of Jaws. Jesus. He was trying to keep the Telegraph happy by opposing all work from home. He wanted to declare COVID over, even though this would obviously backfire, not just on him, but on government credibility generally. At one point in autumn, he told me to put your campaign head back on and figure out how we dead cat COVID. I'm sick of COVID. I want it off the front pages. Bear in mind, he nearly died from it, but, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I said that no campaign could dead cat COVID, and I would not spend my time on such a project. He blamed me for all the noise about replacing permanent secretaries and reform of the civil service. He tried to blame me for the exams debacle, and I had to remind him that I'd had an operation and been away, uninvolved in the whole thing. Okay.
Yeah, he was more concerned about his time off. He was more concerned about his book. Don't forget about his book, guys. He was all about his book as well.
Well, he was under a lot of pressure of that, wasn't he? Because he'd been given the handouts to write the book.
Yeah,
and he hadn't wrote it.
He's advanced.
I bet he had a lot of legal pressure there. But let's not forget that Boris Johnson, he did ask top scientists as well, such as Chris Whitty and Patrick Vallance, about could the COVID be destroyed by blowing a hairdryer up the nose?
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, can we have a very serious debate? Yeah, in the live chat there. Have you tried? What is it? Say that again, Marcus. It's really important.
Okay, a special hairdryer, not any old hairdryer, a special.
Okay.
No, don't let's not encourage people to try it because
I mean, that's the order.
No, we're not encouraging you to try it, but I just want to ask the question one more time, just so the live chat understood what it was asked.
Okay. I'll start again, shall I? Boris Johnson asked top scientists, Sir Chris Whitty and Sir Patrick Vallance, if COVID could be destroyed by blowing a special hairdryer up the nose. According to
there we go, guys. Special hairdryer up the nose, guys. Can it destroy COVID?
What about the bright light?
Chat.
What about like what's it?
Bleach?
Like bleach, yeah, or disinfectant in the bloodstream. That'll work. It'd kill the COVID. Kill everything else.
Yeah,
including the patient.
It did. Just ask Donald Trump. It worked for him, didn't it?
Yeah. Oh dear.
Can you remember that when Donald Trump said that, and his health secretary
just looked at him.
He said out on the podium. Do you remember the press
Maybe,
conference?
maybe we could use some disinfectant. You know, maybe we
And
could
those
try
guys
that.
on the side were
Go on,
like,
guys.
"What the hell is this?" And he was just like standing there. You agree with me, right? And he's just like,
But people tried it. People thought, oh, if Donald says it's good,
did,
then let's.
yeah.
And he actually did it, and they ended up in hospital with it. So,
yeah, people actually did it. I was just like, why are you believing him?
Shall
I
we just?
How many people had the flashlight removed from the rectum?
What's that got to do? Was that another cure?
Well, that was a Trump one, wasn't it?
Was it?
Bright light.
Oh.
Chemically with a bright like UV light, yeah, bright light.
Right. So people turning up at A&E. Yeah, it was Donald Trump told me to do
The
it.
mag light.
Like,
But the lights at the other end.
The president of the United States said this though.
The torch is at the other end. Oh, right.
Garlic up the nose isn't recommended by number 3.
Okay, I'll do that.
Garlic up the nose. Yeah, forget hairdryer, hot sauna. Yeah, bleach spray up the nose. Take the hairdryer with you to a
Half
bath.
the bottle of gin.
Ben Shaw went with the bleach option. That's probably why he doesn't have a camera.
Yeah, like it says,
The games nights.
number 3 says wanting to keep the Tory graph happy, not the country's a hollow crap system. Yeah, just trying to keep his former employees happy. Well, he's still employed at that point by them. He's still doing. No, he'd stopped doing the. But he obviously wanted to keep him happy, so when he finished, he could carry on doing his ridiculously expensive articles.
And obviously the far right as well.
Sorry, Nossolini's just caught me there. He just said, "Take the hairdryer with you to the bath. You'll never die of COVID, that's for sure."
Yeah.
Have you got an RCD that should go?
Right, shall we have a look at the at this video then?
Yeah, just before, one last comment.
Oh, sorry, go
Jal
on.
says, I bought a bottle of 96% alcohol and used it in my hands to disinfect often, but I did not stick it up my nose. Oh, very disappointed, Jal. But you are the sensible one there. That's why you have a spanner.
Yeah. Okay.
The COVID inquiry continues this week with testimony from some of Boris Johnson's closest aides. Viewers are warned that this report contains people that some of you might find offensive. Our disgusting orgy of narcissism correspondent, Jonathan Goodenough, has more. Yes, that's right. The inquiry heard today from former Press Secretary Lee Kane and former advisor Dominic Cummings, who described ministers as morons, liars, and useless. Useless what? Well, I don't want to say. He didn't just call them useless, he called them useless. My mum watches this. He called them useless. Fuck pigs. Louder. Fuck pigs. Thank you. He also called them Carry on. Right, the day started with testimony from Lee Kane, who said that COVID was the wrong crisis for Boris Johnson's skill set. Did he say what would have been the right crisis? Well, the general consensus is that the right crisis for his skill set would have involved an after-dinner speech, a model of a bus, and a woman who absolutely had to get pregnant. Right. We've also seen notes and WhatsApps from the former Prime Minister in which he agreed that COVID was nature's way of dealing with old people, and even suggested that people with COVID lived longer, suggesting he understands statistics about as well as he does marriage vows. What else did the former Prime Minister say about old people? He was apparently obsessed with old people accepting their fate and allowing young people to just get on with their lives, which seems like a rather cavalier approach to your own voter base. He came in for a lot of criticism, didn't he? Yes, that's right. Dominic Cummings made it clear that he thought that Boris Johnson was completely unsuitable for the role of Prime Minister, and yet he worked hard to get him elected. Yes, and when challenged on that, he said that if Boris Johnson hadn't been elected, Brexit would have been in danger, and he couldn't let that happen. Well, at least that's been a huge success. Quite. Cummings then went on to describe a government in chaos with no plans to deal with the pandemic, in truly shocking testimony that was it though. Sorry? Shocking. Was anybody actually shocked? Well, I mean, wasn't it patently obvious from the beginning that Boris Johnson's government was as suited to dealing with a crisis like COVID as Mary Berry would be at knocking out Tyson Fury? Actually, based on his performance this weekend, she might take a round off him. Fair point, but isn't calling all of this shocking a form of gaslighting? Pretending we didn't know it was all a shambles all along? Well, we didn't know what they were calling each other in private. And what was that? Useless fuckpigs. And thank you, Jonathan. Sorry, Mum. Next up, as it's rumoured that Nigel Farage might be sent into the jungle, we ask, how disappointing is it to find out it's just for a TV show?
Oh, dear.
Oh, guys.
Brilliant.
Oh, Matt Green, guys. Make sure you subscribe to Matt Green and watch the video on his YouTube channel. Give him the views and likes, as always, guys.
Yeah. Shall we just run through a couple of news items then that we kind of picked up on before?
Yeah, we'll just
quickly.
Just show the headlines.
Yeah, just show the headlines. So, God, what am I doing here? That one.
playing with buttons.
Labour
there's-
record. Go on.
Labour recorded its first Westminster polling lead in Scotland since 2014 as Yes voters turned away from SNB. It is one poll, so don't panic, Scott. So all the Scottish voters, it is only one poll, so we'll wait and see. Obviously, when the general election comes around, it said with undecideds have been removed. 38% said they intended to back Labour at the next election, compared to 32% for the SNP. So it's incredibly tight. So much can change between now and the next general election. So, but just wanted to get that out there, just to highlight there, because we thought that was quite an interesting poll, to say the least. But like we say, things can change at a rapid pace, shall we say?
Yeah. Did you want to do Keir Starmer?
Yeah, just have a quick look at that as well.
Yeah.
While I understand calls for a ceasefire at this stage, I do not believe that it is the correct position now, for two reasons. One, because a ceasefire always freezes any conflict in the state where it currently lies. And as we speak, that would leave Hamas with the infrastructure and the capability to carry out the sort of attack we saw on October the 7th. And it is this context which explains my second reason, which is that our current calls for pauses in the fighting for clear and specific humanitarian purposes, and which must start immediately, is right in practice as well as principle. The reality is that neither the long-term security of Israel nor long-term justice for Palestine can be delivered by bombs and bullets. Open-ended military action without a clear and desired political outcome, is ultimately futile.
But just my first thought on that is, well, that last bit there, that's exactly what the Israeli government seems to be doing. They don't seem to have a plan. They said there doesn't seem to be, they want to destroy Hamas, but it's like a moving. It's like I don't know. It's like trying to catch custard. You might get a little bit of Hamas, but it'll just spread elsewhere. Part of it'll go into the West Bank, part of it'll escape to Egypt. I just don't see. I don't see how that is going to work. Go on, Marcus. You're going to say something.
Yeah, the thing is, though, even if you did, let's say, argument's sake, you did manage to eradicate Hamas, you're not going to eradicate. You're going to get the next generation of Hamas. People, kids who have seen their parents killed. It's just going to generate more terrorism. It's just an ongoing thing. It's just there's no good answers here.
There aren't any good answers, but I mean, it seems like the IDF and the Israeli government want to literally flatten Gaza, and I read something today about this person who got notification that they were living in the UK, but they got notification that 36 members of the family had died in Gaza, and it's like,
I watched. It was on a live stream earlier today. I was watching that clip, and
I mean,
what was what was really angry was this was on I think it was on ITV Good Morning, and what's his name, Richard
Madeley.
He was the way he was talking to him about it. There was no morality from that man as he was talking to him. The guy has lost all these family members, and he's not like he's just asking, like, were you close to the family? Like, not even saying it in a sympathetic way. Like, the questions from him were pathetic and so insulting. It's just like, could you just be a little bit sympathetic to the man? Like,
he's like Alan Partridge, but without the comedy, without the comedy element. Just completely clueless about what he's saying. Or any context of what he's saying. But
the last time I talked about is, I'm probably going to end up talking about it again because it's just not going to go away. There needs to be a ceasefire, but my biggest concern is that the only ones that can really have the biggest sway in all this is America, and unless America does something which they're not intended to really do, people are going to keep on dying. But the question is are we going to lose more lives, or are we going to lose less lives? And the other thing as well, it's very important to stress, is that Prime Minister Netanyahu is incredibly unpopular right now with the people of Israel, not just around the world, but with Israelis there. So he's not like extremely popular. He's very much.
It's not going to be all Israelis, though, is it? Though.
The vast. Oh, okay. But let me correct that. Vast majority, I would say.
Maybe.
There's a lot of questions. God, sorry.
Like Macron here, what have you? He's, we keep hearing about Marine Le Pen, but there's loads of people. He's still got a lot of support. What we're getting is we're just getting dribs and drabs of information. We don't really know what's going on.
But there was a lot of videos coming out. A lot of Israeli people angry at Netanyahu for how did this attack, why he allowed this attack to happen in the first place. And it's had a knock-on effect. Obviously, there was the story in Russia. I don't know if you guys heard about the story in Russia about an airport.
Yeah.
I think this was in one of the
Dagestan in the sort of south. Yeah.
Quite a vast majority of Russian Muslims.
Yeah.
Basically rampaged through an airport because there was a plane coming from Tel Aviv from Israel.
Well, it wasn't just that. It was like some social media people on social media, particularly like far right groups on social media, put out, and they were telling people
basically they were saying they're coming here, and it's just like we don't want these murderers coming here, and it's just like, to me, it's just like. And then obviously I've talked about how like there was even a story about even here in the UK how parents cover up their kids going to school with all the Jewish badges or whatever on, because they don't want their kids being targeted because they're Jewish. Just for walking from their home to the school, just so they don't get targeted. I mean, the anti-Semitism is just off the scales right now.
Where does this all end? Where does this all end?
At the end of the day, we almost had peace. We had peace at one point with Palestinians and with the PLO. I remember Yasser Arafat going into the White House with what's his name? I can't remember who the Israeli prime minister was at the time. But I mean, the problem is you always get the far right nutcases who don't want, not far right, I should say, the religious or even the extremists who want to, don't like. They don't want peace. They want the chaos and the fighting
and the bad actors.
Yeah,
you think Russia and Iran and all this.
Yeah, Iran. Yeah. And this is the thing is, I was reading the thing about they're saying that because Saudi Arabia's started doing trade deals with Israel, or had done, and various other countries in the Middle East have started doing deals with Israel to share tech and things like that. And it's like, Iran just saw that as a threat because obviously Saudi Arabia and Iran are at each other's throats as well. They both want to be the lead, the most the senior country in that area, and they just saw that as a threat. So, there's a reason why Hezbollah they're funded by Iran. So is Hamas. Why they've all started kicking off with and throwing stuff at Israel, missiles at Israel as well. But yeah, it's. I don't know. There are no easy answers, but there has to be. No. There won't be answer. The only time it's going to be settled is if there's a peaceful solution. It's allowed the Palestinians and the Israelis to live side by side, whether that's in a two-state system or one-state system. I honestly don't know. There's no easy answers.
Why would they want to live side by side now after what's been going on?
You have to, in order to do that, you have to have peace. You have to have peace. I know, but if you're going to have peace, you do. Happened in Ireland. Ireland has had it, and other countries it's had it. They've found ways to do it, but go on.
Yeah,
sorry.
I was just going to make the really key point is that when people will say, why would they want peace? And I would say, look at your children, look at your brothers and sisters' children, look at your families. Like, how many more of your children's children need to suffer before you realise, as much as you absolutely hate these people for what they have done,
these people are brutal. They're brutal.
They are.
The Irish.
They are. But they are, and they are, and I totally understand that. And none of us will ever be able to put ourselves in their shoes and feel what they are feeling. But I will put this point out: is that how much, do you really want to stay in this cycle of bloodshed consistently, with your children and your children's children happening all the time? Like, or do you want them to find a solution where they can actually have a life and a peaceful one? Because that is what you're going to have to do at some point, or you're just going to keep going round in circles here.
But you're talking about the civilians, the people in charge. They don't want it.
Not at Hamas, they don't know.
No.
Hamas, and I don't think Netanyahu does either. I mean, he's like one extreme
Netanyahu needs to go,
against another extreme.
in my opinion. Hamas obviously has to go, but like how that comes about, I don't know. When I say about peace, I'm talking about both sides in this.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not speaking for one or the other. I'm speaking for both. You know, when I make that point clear, guys.
Should we move on to something else then? Because that's a bit.
Yeah, let's move on.
We kind of avoided that subject for a while.
Yeah.
Hey,
there's
no dead end. It's a dead end subject.
That's why I don't make videos on it.
No.
Don't blame you.
Shall we skip the McDonald's one in that case? Because that's kind of linked to that.
They're depressing. How can McDonald's be depressing?
When you got right, so someone unleashed a load of Palestinian coloured mice in. Well, let's I'll look at it and just show it. There we go.
It's sort of funny.
It's updated on my one apparently.
Is it? Let's just refresh
it. No, you won't have the picture then. Apparently the mice process suspect got arrested, but anyway, you'll have to read it on your end because I can't see it. So
McDonald's has condemned what it called disinformation of the Israel-Gaza war after boxes of live mice were released in 3 of its restaurants in apparent protest. A video on social media showed customers at Birmingham Star City restaurant jumping in shock as mice dyed in the colours of the Palestinian flag scurried near their feet on Monday. A second clip showed mice in a box in a Perry Bar branch. Westminster police launched it. Well, they've caught somebody on it. The fast food giant said both stores were temporarily closed for full clean and visits from pest control officers. Police said they were treating the first incident, apparent protest against the Israel-Gaza war, as a public nuisance offence. And there you go. Oh, so someone green, someone red.
That's absolutely disgusting on the mice. It's just inhumane to put them.
Well, the other thing is all going to have to be caught and killed anyway. That's the only way they're going to catch
if you read this bit here, it'll explain why they did it.
In a video reported third incident of the same nature was also shared across social media on Wednesday. In the clip, a group of masked people appeared to enter the branch in Small Heath and empty a clear plastic box filled with live mice near the counter. Okay. Oh, so after Hamas gunmen launched an assault on Israel from the Gaza Strip on the 7th of October, a branch of the restaurant chain in Israel reportedly donated 100,000 of free meals, including to soldiers and security forces. The move sparked protests from calls from pro-Palestinian activists to boycott the brand, according to the Daily Express. A spokesperson for McDonald's said the firm was dismayed by the disinformation and inaccurate reports regarding our position in response to the conflict in the Middle East. The chain added, McDonald's Corporation is not funding or supporting any governments involved in this conflict, and any actions from our local developmental licensee business partners are made independently without McDonald's consent or approval. Our hearts are with all of the communities and families impacted by this crisis. We abhor violence of any kind and firmly stand against hate speech, and will always proudly open our doors to everyone. We are doing everything we can to ensure the safety of our people in the region while supporting the communities where we operate. So like you say, somebody have arrested somebody about that, have they?
Yeah. Been a 32-year-old man's been arrested, detained over apparent protest at Westminster, police had said. So they've caught the person to it. But I just think it's just absolutely ridiculous. First of all, they both read the story from the Daily Express, so I don't know why they jumped to conclusions there because it's the Daily Express. Secondly, it's McDonald's chain, it's one McDonald's chain in Israel. That doesn't mean every single other chain across the world is going to do the same thing. That's the second point. And thirdly, why would you use innocent mice in all this? You know and you painted them as well, and then, it's inhumane just of what you've done to the mice. Never mind just unleashing them in McDonald's restaurants and other restaurants on innocent customers, on innocent staff, and innocent that have absolutely nothing to do with this whatsoever.
Were the mice bred for it?
Probably.
Well, they do white mice, so they're probably, I mean,
that's okay then. Look what we did to cows.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. That'd be my point. As a vegetarian, I think, well, look at all the cows that are killed for the burgers that they're eating in there. So, anyway, that's, swings and
Yeah, wrong
roundabouts.
kind of
I don't know
promotion.
how
But
you
yeah,
want to
what
put it.
that McDonald's did in Israel is entirely them, and it's just like we've said it's just a stupid story from a stupid person.
Just going back to the thing. I was on the Twitter. I was just looking at some Twitter feeds on this. This one from Jolyon Morn says, Dominic Cummings, the man who brought you Brexit and was organ grinder to Johnson's monkey, has heroically given the evidence, written the witness statement you would expect. Everyone is stupid. All systems are buggered. If only people had followed his instructions. Yes. Alistair Campbell says, Jesus, Cummings represents himself as some kind of wise guru above the fray, surrounded by useless people. And here he's trying to put the ridiculous Frost in charge of national security. Give me one McNamara to any number of Johnson, Frost, Cummings. Yeah.
Oh God, I know. National security advisor.
Yeah.
Frost. What did he? What is it? This is the same guy that went to the Brexit negotiations without even a pen and.
No, he was that was David. That was David Davis, wasn't it? He went.
That was David Davis. Yeah.
The Frost was later on.
Too mixed up.
Yeah.
You talking Lord Frost?
Lord Frost. Yeah.
Lord Frost.
Yep. Sorry, Lord Frost. My apologies for not putting the Lord in front.
Super Tansky says Dominic Cummings is an utter prick, but he's excellent at swearing. The COVID inquiry has given a terrifying insight into the useless fuck pigs in charge during COVID. An absent PM obsessed with killing the elderly, staff getting pissed constantly. The Tories, everybody.
Yeah. Well said, Super Tansky.
Yeah. You heard Cummings suggest corruption between Johnson and Lebedev's Evening Standard. Take a deep breath and see how far and wide this goes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thousands are dying of COVID. Boris Johnson arranged to transfer £100 to £200 million in taxpayers' money to newspaper companies, most of them owned by billionaires. This was dressed up as emergency advertising. Yeah, that was true. If you're interested in the Byline Times have actually launched a print issue which you can buy in newsstands today.
I was trying to get one today, Lee, and I was going to show it off here on the stream.
I think it's quite hard to find
one
them.
In my local WH Smith. I am very, very angry.
Ah, right. Was it sold out? I think they said they were selling them.
Sold out.
Was
I
it?
asked them on the counter. They said they sold out.
Right. Well, that's a good sign then. Maybe they'll be able to do a bigger print run next month.
Well, they did tweet. I think either it was today or yesterday that they were saying that they're printing more because due to high demand. So
right. Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So good sign. So yeah,
in Waitrose as well. Sure
if you're in the UK and you're listening to this, make sure you check out your local WH Smith, some of the local areas for Byline Times, guys. Because that it does support them. If you're not a subscriber to them, if you're picking up their paper, that helps make a massive difference. So,
do we? Sorry, just have a look at the chat because we've kind of haven't.
Yeah, I'll run through I'll scroll up a bit and just run through a bit of the chat. I'm just going to go from after Matt Green's comments because there's quite a few there. Alistair Keir says, Starmer talking ceasefire now, ceasefire down yesterday for humanity's sake. Hugh says, so Keith, you desperately need Alistair Campbell to PR advise you, you Surrey Bellend. That's proportional representation for those who don't know. Number 3 says, as for Phil Morehouse pointed out, ceasefires occur after negotiations arranging terms. Jasper Edwards says they need Photoshop deliverance. Giles says, I'm not talking about it. I only know one thing: civilians are dying. Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't think negotiations can even start without ceasefire respected by both sides. Says Noscalini. Alistair Keir said it's the oil, energy hub, etc. There was something about oil apparently as well in the area that's come up as well, but let's not dive into that. Noscalini said, I speak from experience of my dad who served in the army and was deployed in Aden. He felt betrayed by the UK government. That was Labour. That was negotiated by Cairo Grenadiers while denegating Lieutenant L.C. Mitchell. Sorry if I botched that, Noscalini. As they continue to throw grenades at UK army positions and snipe at soldiers. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I really am. Robbie Williams in a Photoshop movie that was marvellously cripply. Dan Wootton on steroids. Piers Morgan, Kate Burley should be on trial for holiday in red area country, says Jasper. Jeannie Bolt says it is not the end of the world. I have not been insulted yet by Borwick Wowbagger, the infinitely prolonged. I'm not sure what that one means. Sorry, Judy. To be honest, I think Biden did temper them things about a notch, even though he looked upstaged by the hospital atrocity. One Angry Pagan said he did his own reaction to Starmer's Charlton House speech. Yeah, so if you want to guys check that out, you can check out his reactions out on his channel. One Angry Pagan has his own YouTube channel if anyone's interested. Nusselini said, doubt most people would agree with me, but historians will note the impact of him going in person to Israel to call for de-escalation. That's in regards to when Biden went to Israel.
Put his foot in it though, didn't he, when he went there?
Yeah. Never-end's been going on there since Crusades afar. There were things that Starmer said in his speech that half Netanyahu spitting feathers, says one Angry Pagan. Hugh was responding to Nusselini saying that it was F up, and ex-SAS Hartford once told me in the bar one night that the people there turned their coats in the middle of the battle, not Labour's fault, it was MI6's terrible advice. These times are the dark nights of the soul, says number 3. And my dad, by his own admission, didn't serve as well as soldier, broke the ROE twice, and Mitchell took the gun off him. I demote a vehicle, Paul, Nusselini said. It hit 10,000 dead now and climbing, not confirmed as yet, says Azakir. I don't want to know the number, if I'm honest, my friend. Jal says the Romans were burial and did not understood them. Both sides are of the same culture and yet they do not want it. Casper says, let's talk about tractors. So we talk about the Ukrainian tractors. How many tractors? How many Ukrainian farmers have tractored away a few Russian tanks? Do we think since the start of the war?
Hopefully
I'm a little bit broken down with everything going on, says Duke.
We can talk about the PTO direction.
What's that?
History repeating is very horrible, says Jeannie Bottle. Angry people and optimistic people is all I see in the news these days. Even side trying to balkanize positions and force people to take attitudes contrary to their morals and common sense, says Jow. Yeah, there is a lot of that, to be fair, my friend.
I agree.
Everyone is so desperate to point fingers at each other. Nobody's thinking about how to solve the actual problem.
And everyone's
yes, bang on the money there with that comment, Duke. Yeah, bang on the money there. It's why I'm getting so mad at everyone, says Duke. Twitter ghosties. Jow says understand. I also get mad but try not to show it. It's very hard sometimes. Dominic Cummings does Ricky Gervais, you county Kent. Has Barline Times read Kelvinshire yet? Preachers. Just check your local WH Smith. Check your local shops. It's just worth if you're in the town centre or whatever, just pop in and ask them if they have it.
Is there a Waitrose in Carmarthenshire? Because that's where apparently they are selling.
Yeah, give them a try. Give them a try as well. Good night, Daily Blasé. Good to see you.
Good night, Darren. Take care, mate.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much most of the chat. I think
you says I have a school mom friend from the US, Sarah. Oh no, sorry, that's completely different. I forgot what point I was making. A Democrat, Bernie. Okay, I think we're done then. Is there anything else? I think we covered.
I think
everything.
we're
working to Marcus time here now. It's like we're almost up to 2 hours.
Yeah, the Marcus hour. Look at that.
The Marcus hour. Yeah.
I think we usually push it to 3 hours sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I come into your stream and I have to go off to watch something else.
Maybe I should do it like a late Sunday night with AllShorts. Just come on and me and you just talk for hours about anything and everything.
About 3 or 4 hours.
We could do that one night. To be fair, I ain't working at the moment. Well, I have applied for a few jobs actually the last few days, which is good. So cross fingers, see what comes to them, which is good. So, but guys, just want to say on that, guys, we just want to say thank you to everyone who came here today for the show. Thank you to everyone whether they come at the start or during, or they just finish it up now. Greatly appreciated. If you can, guys, before you leave, hit that like button. It'd be greatly appreciated. If you can also share across other social media platforms, that would be greatly appreciated. And if you hit the bell notification icon, you should be notified of when we go live, which is normally every Wednesday, 9 p.m. And also, guys, make sure if you're not a subscriber to AllShorts, please go and subscribe to our good friend AllShorts, and make sure you do check out his other YouTube channels as well. He has some fantastic work as well there. So make sure you check him out. The link to his channel is in the description as well, guys. As well as our good friend Daily Blasé, who unfortunately we wanted to get him on, but obviously miscommunications of that didn't really work out. But that's okay. Hopefully next time we'll have him on. We greatly appreciate. Also, as well, if you're not, you can also check out my channel at Reganelite. The link is in the description as well. You guys can also check out content on my channel as well. And also one other little plug, one more tiny little plug, guys. We have our own Discord server called the Snowflake server, which is completely free for you guys to join. You can come join us on there, where we do games nights on Saturdays. We do the odd music night as well. I think we got one this Sunday, actually, believe it or not. I think music night is this Sunday, actually. Yeah, believe it or not. And also we obviously have lots of news articles and stuff, and lots of other things going on the server. It's a nice community where you guys could come in and chat to each other, all that kind of stuff, and it's completely free for you guys to join as well, and also use it as a source of information, because we have a bot there that plugs lots of other YouTubers. So maybe some of you YouTubers that you maybe don't know, or YouTubers that you may know, like such as Labour Social, Daily Blasé, as you said, One Angry Pagan there. Number 3 also has his own YouTube channel. Hugh has his own YouTube channel there as well. So lots of other YouTubers you can kind of check out. You know, all that connections there. You might find some content interesting here and there. So all that stuff. So you get that all. You can all see it all through the Snowflake server, which is completely free, and it's easy to download because you can do it on an app as well. So you don't just have to have a computer or a laptop for that. And I think I've covered everything, Lee. Have I?
So Larry the Cat says, "Where's our favourite Brummy?" He's having a week off this week, but he'll be back next week. So
how the orb, guys.
Oh, hail the orb.
Forgot to bring the orb.
And Zhao says the Marcus vortex of time. The Marcus effect, says Hugh.
It's daylight saving time. That's what it is.
Indeed, that's it. Yeah, we get an extra hour, so we've filled it with Marcus time.
Yes, we have filled it with Marcus time. So, right. Marcus AllShorts, thank you so much for
thanks for coming, Marcus,
and coming on. Yeah, we greatly appreciate our friend. And thank you again also for all your not just for coming on.
Fondling that thing.
For all the no, seriously.
What are you doing to it? You're getting a bit. God, you frisky fella, you.
It gives me power. It gives me power. But thank you so much, for whenever you highlight our channel, this channel, my channel. It is greatly appreciated. We really do appreciate all the love and support. We really do. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Marcus. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Larry Cat says this is a longer wind down, nearly as long as Marcus.
Well, we got to drag it on because he is here, so that's how it works.
Just want to stretch it out to the 2 hours. It's got 6 minutes.
Yeah. 6 minutes to go.
Right, thanks everybody coming. We have actually got something else to watch, so a little video afterwards.
We have an outro video, guys. We have an outro video.
All right, so thanks, Marcus. Thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you, everybody.
We'll see you all.
Join us.
Yeah, thanks for coming along. We'll see you guys. Don't forget, I'm live streaming tomorrow evening if you guys aren't, the Snowflake Corner. So feel free to come and check that out as well. And keep an eye out for when AllShorts goes live, because we never know when he might be going live.
It was on. It would happen.
It could happen straight after the show, guys. It could happen at 6 a.m.
Right, let's video time. Right, good night, all.
Good night, everyone. Take care.
Hi, it's me, Naveen Boris, and I'm here to tell you of some really sinister, messed up goings on. That's right, it's Halloween and things have got nasty. I've got 2 words for you. Big tech. Life as we know is over. There is a man with a dial sitting there turning the knob around to suit him so that the algorithm shows left-wing, negative, wokey opinions. It's not a conspiracy, it's real. There is a literal man sat in his pants turning the knob around going like this. Oh, wokey agenda, correct, wokey agenda, wokey agenda, wokey agenda. Where is the correct? That's right, it's disgusting. We all know that that's not how people actually think, you silly little knob man. Do you want the truth? Well, fine. Let's Google someone really inspiring, a major, sexy celebrity who has done so much good in the world. Me. Hear this from The Guardian. I'm as useful as a chocolate teapot. I mean, what does that even mean? The chocolate will just melt and that's a good thing? I mean, who doesn't like melted chocolate? Ever heard of fondue? Well, Guardian, you can fondue one. And do you know what? There's only one explanation for all of this. The knob man. But don't worry, as it's Halloween, I've got the perfect spell to keep him away. Witches assemble! Hello, it's me, Liv Struss, your ex-pork sinister. Double growth, toil and cheese. Eye of newt to make them wheeze. Presenting on GB News. Add some wine for the booze. Make sure the weather is just fine. The rain has come the wrong way this time. You shall not mess with the algorithm. No knobman will cause this schism. Now finish with a spell of plight. We must all stand up and fight. Stand up and fight. Stand up and fight. Stand up and fight.
The knob will be exposed.
Next week, join me as I talk about the fish that are taking over the world with my factual evidence. For now, let's fiddle with a knob. Oh.